Folks, Engineer 775 here on a sunny day on a small little off-grid project. I haven't done one of those in a while, so I thought I'd share what I did on this. This is a nice change of pace. No utility to mess with, fight with, talk to, interconnect with, blah, 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 and jump through all their hurdles and hoops. Just totally off-grid, in the middle of nowhere, just a cabin. So this customer purchased a kit, cabin kit, and him and his wife built it. And I'm just up here getting them power. It's kind of cool. They just had a baby, so when they come back, they're going to have electricity at their cabin, and so it's going to be fun for them, I hope. So again, a change of pace. Maybe that's what I'll call this video, the change of pace. So sometimes we all need that. And so let me show you around, show you what I used, why I did what I did, and maybe this will be helpful if you ever want to just have a cabin in the middle of the woods with no utility, your own water supply, your own power supply. So this is truly, I would say, an energy independence, water independence, nice little bug out location. So let me show you around. So I'm going to take you into the heart of the system, which is obviously the mechanical room, the inverter, and you know me, I'm going to use a Sol-Ark if I can. So there's so many options, 5Ks, single phase, 5Ks, split phase, and then there's 8Ks and 12s and 15s, and it just doesn't stop. And then you got 30s and 60s now. But I find there's not a big price difference in going from, say, a 5K to an 8K. The 8K's been out a long time. It's very reliable. The only limitation on the 8K is that it doesn't stack. So I kind of oversized it for the cabin. I think an 8K is just a great way to do an off-grid cabin. And if you can afford it, go for it. If not, you know, you can save yourself a few thousand. But again, the inverter to me is the heart of the system. Everything is determined by the inverter, meaning what your solar string wiring is going to be, how much battery you're going to be able to use. And so start with the inverter. That's what I do, and design the system around it. And that's always been very, very effective and gives good results. So typical Sol-Ark installation on a wiring trough. I'm using the 200 amp hour ARC lithium battery. Just very simple, no closed loop communication, not needed. The Sol-Ark handles the charging and discharging just fine. And you can see this when it's flashing, means it's charging. We started at 55% a little while ago. We're up to 65%. So she's charging. And the only thing that I haven't done in a long time, because you know I mainly do ground mounts, is I did a roof mount solar on this because there was no other place. And well, there is another place. So we might do a combination of roof and ground. But to get the system up and running and this place functional, as you can see, they're starting to put in they got their on-demand water heater, water filtration, and nothing's wired. It's just roughed in electrically. But passed inspection today, and my system is done, ready for the electrician. But I had to add rapid shutdown. Rapid shutdown compliance is required with solar on the roof, and I hadn't done one in a while. So what I didn't realize is that, because I hadn't done one in a while, the 12-volt power supply in the Sol-Ark is not enough to run the transmitter required to energize this coil to send a signal up to the roof to the Tigo transmitters, rapid shutdown switches, to turn on to send solar. So what did I have to do? So I used the Tigo, which is really a Meanwell, this converter from 120 volts to 12 volts, and it's adjustable voltage, which is kind of very helpful. So you can see this Tigo is flashing green somewhere in there. If the camera can get in there far enough, you'll see the flashing green. So it's sending a signal. It's energizing this coil, so it's using PLC, power line communication, to send a signal to the switches up under the panels to turn on, to open up, to let the power through. And that's what we're doing now. We're making, what are we making? We're making not a lot. There's 8 450 watt panels on the roof. It's early morning, and we're charging the battery. Again, no grid and no loads yet, because it's not wired yet. And then we put in a bypass like we usually do. And this normal operation, the lever will be up to power the cabin. Down will be for a small generator. So he has a small little gas generator. Sorry about the light. And it's enough to get him out of trouble if he needs to charge this battery. And then I come into a power distribution block from the generator, split to the bypass. So I can put the lever down and run the place on the little generator. It's not going to run the whole place, but it's enough to run lights, refrigeration, internet, those kinds of things. But normal operation is up. I always like the lever up. The sun is up, solar is up, and that's the way we're going to do it. So far so good. I've also, the other thing I try to do is put the generator into the grid input and then tell the inverter that generator is connected to the grid input, and that frees this up. It frees the generator breaker to be a load output or smart load, so we can run a pump. I'll show you the rain catchment system. They're going to have a rain catchment system here for their water. They got 5,000 gallons of storage, and they could run their pump off of that. Or maybe we do another water heater, and without having to use propane, we could do a diversion load control using the smart load. And I just like that. I think that's a great feature. Do it on most of my off-grid installations. So that's the 8K. I'm going to close this gutter up. Battery's charging. And then let's take you around to the other stuff. So on the roof, it's just a simple R-panel corrugated metal roof. Nothing fancy there. And for those, especially with shallow pitches, I like to use these mini rails. It's a very simple rail, 17 inches long. Your ribs on a R panel are always 9 inches on center, so you're able to hit. There's butyl strips on the bottom, so you use the Everest self-tapping screws and you hit the high ridge. You're only connecting to the high point of the metal roof, less apt to leak, plus it has the butyl there. Very easy to lay out, snap lines, put your mini rails up. You can't really see, but you can just see the edge of the solar panels. I've got 8 450 watt panels up there, and then we bring the solar down with EMT and into the mechanical room. And here's the big water tanks, septic going in, water tanks. And he's got filtration and UV and all that for that. So they're still plumbing these. I'm not exactly sure what pump he's using, but we could run that pump as a diversion load. Rapid shutdown. We've got a little button. So for compliance, fire department comes up, hits the button, and that shuts the inverter down, which shuts the solar down. And so we're leaving it for the electrician. Another water tank here. And then we have our standard little Reliance L14 30 amp generator inlet plug, so he can bring his generator out. The generator doesn't have to sit out in the rain. You could set it right here on this pad, fire it up, just plug it in, and then you could have plenty of power. So it's a nice little cabin. This is going to be fun for their family. And they might Airbnb it. We've talked about that, how to make sure once they have internet you can check on the inverter. But it's a nice little spot. It's up on top of this hill. Very steep driveway. They had to put concrete down and rough it up because it is super steep. But this is a nice little off-grid cabin. Bedroom, bathroom, living room area. They're going to put in a mini split. And so I know they've been camping up here, but they're going to be glamping here soon. It's going to be so nice. And part of making it nice is giving them a good mechanical room so they can handle all their water needs, filtration, heating of their water, powering the place. So I always try to emphasize it's so worth it to make a nice mechanical room. So when you walk in, you can see everything, what everything is doing. That's not tucked in a crawl space. Oh, there's his pump. So this is going to be the rain catchment pump and just one of the loads. We don't have to do diversion load on that. I just think water heating is the best use of the smart load for Sol-Ark. So he could add an electric water heater, and that could take up do most of the work heating the water electrically. And if it doesn't keep up, then the EcoTemp can finish it off. So I'm gonna button this baby up. Let me know if you have any questions, but this is just a simple off-grid change of pace system, fun to build. All right, this is Engineer 775 signing out.